Hi guys, it's Amy from Little Farm Quilts. Boy, it's been a hot second. I think it's been 2 weeks since I've been on here. Sorry as I get adjusted. Coming down with a bit of a head cold, so I'm going to try to get this video done before anything happens, because right now I'm feeling okay. You know, head colds, you can get into sneezing fits. I do have my tea, and I have tissues close by, but I really wanted to get up to FlossTube. This is FlossTube number 10. So if you're returning and watching me, thank you for your support. I really do appreciate it. I love interacting with you guys with all your comments and your questions. If you're finding me for the first time, probably to get a good context of me and who I am, you should scroll through and binge watch some of my videos. I've been on YouTube for a while, mostly from the quilting side of my business, and recently I've started doing floss tubes. And then for a very brief second I was doing videos separately, sewing videos and stitching videos, and now I've just combined them because, let's face it, I work a full-time job, and although I love FlossTube and I love interacting, and I'm going to tell you why in a second, working a full-time job kind of hinders all of that. So, life update. I have a list here in front of me to try to keep me focused this time, because you guys know that I can kind of sometimes be all over the place. Life's been good. It's been busy. I think I'm just at this weird stage in my life where I don't think I'm ever going to fully retire. I'm a nurse, and the adage is that nurses don't ever retire, and I do think that that's kind of true. But I am at the stage of life where I'm looking at working less and doing more with the things that I enjoy. The sewing and the stitching and the other crafting that I do being stuff that actually, you know, makes me feel happy, brings me joy. Teaching others how to do it also helps me. I do teach, if you look through some of my other videos, I do have skills videos on there for sewing and getting a 1/4" seam. I'm mainly a quilter, but I've thought recently about branching out into some clothes making, just because I feel like my body style is not one that is suited real well in conventional made clothes. There, I put that out there. Anyway, so I've thought about doing that, have not done that yet, so let's just be clear about that. Have not gone there. I haven't made clothes since I was making them for my kids when they were little. My kids are grown. The oldest is 31. The youngest is going to be 23 this year. Sorry, my throat is really, really dry. Anyway, so I think about that often, and it's been kind of weird. I went into work on Monday just feeling tired already. Now, I want to preface this. My husband and I used to work out at 5:30 every morning, Monday through Friday, pretty religiously, until some things in life happened and took us away from that, probably late last summer. And then we were just having trouble getting back into it, so we would spit and sputter to get back into it and never really got there. This week, Monday, well, I made the decision before Monday. I had decided that Monday this week was going to be my first day back to that, and then I was going to push through sorry, a little tickle my throat, through Monday through Friday working out, just to get my first week under my belt, so that hopefully that gained momentum. So Monday I went into work feeling really tired. I'm decided that I'm getting back into running 3 days a week, doing weights 2 days a week, and hopefully doing like a yoga or something on a Saturday. Of course, I have not done that yet today because I'm not feeling very well. I might do it later. I may not do that today. I don't know. But Monday I felt successful. I got my run in. Matt and I were able to spend some time together in the morning. And if you followed along here, you know that Matt and I like to spend time together. We actually do like each other, and we have a very good marriage, and we have fun together. So kudos to us for getting there, I guess. But we like to start off our day spending some time together in the morning, and we do work out together in the morning for the most part. So had a good morning start, but then got to work and just felt fatigued. And it wasn't, on Monday it wasn't kind of like my body was fatigued, it was mental fatigue, I think, from my job. And it just got to the point where by the end of the day, Monday, early Tuesday, I kind of felt like I needed to take a day off of work. So I've gotten at my age very good at listening to my intuition as far as that goes, and I scheduled Friday off this past Friday. As the week went on, I felt more and more exhausted, more and more like I might actually be fighting something off, maybe. So by the time we got to my off day yesterday, I had all these big plans when I got up. I got up and I ran. I still felt like I was tired, but I felt good that I pushed through. But as the day went on, I started not feel well. You guys all know that. You know what I mean? Like when whatever's been dragging at you decides to finally poke its head out. It just hit my, just a cold, but it was just annoying to me that it hit me on my day that I scheduled off for mental health. So I kind of ignored it during the day and did exactly what I planned to do. Slept okay last night, and I feel okay today. It's still, I'm not super sick by any stretch of the imagination. I know plenty of people right now that are a lot sicker than I am, and right now it's okay. I think, like anybody else, early mornings and nighttime are the worst, and we'll see how it progresses. But I'm hoping to be able to join you guys for FlossTube, because I honestly really like FlossTube. I like interacting with everybody. I live in the part of the country that doesn't have, believe it or not, because I've looked and I haven't really found a local needlework shop. I get most of my stuff online through Etsy, through Fat Quarter Shop, through 123 Stitch. I haven't really found like a cross stitch community where I live. I live in upstate New York. My mom cross stitches. She lives in the North Country, so she lives about a 5-hour drive north of me. So it's not like she and I are sitting stitching together, although we do video chat from time to time and do that. There's not really a huge cross stitch community, I don't feel like, where I am. And I'm missing that, I think. So that's why I like doing the FlossTubes, because I interact with you guys in your comments. I get some questions from time to time. I got a couple this week that I'll address pretty soon. Weird questions. And I have some questions for you guys to get feedback from, just because I don't really have a cross-stitchy community. I have friends that quilt with me, that work on projects. When I'm working on projects that I can talk quilting projects with. I have a couple people in my life, plus my mom, my sister, that do that, my daughter. We have kind of, well, our own little family community. Most of the guilds in my area meet during the day on a Monday through Friday, which puts me out of the game because I work a job. So I find myself longing for community. So yesterday I spent a good portion of my day while I was sewing on a couple projects, binge watching FlossTubes and interacting on social media with those FlossTubers, which I don't really have a ton of time to do, because I don't, between working and trying to get stitch time in and trying to get sew time in, and I do long arm quilting for other quilters, so I have a long arm quilting service. I don't have a ton of time to interact on social media, and when I'm home with my husband, I don't want to be like nose in my phone like this while he's with me necessarily. I mean, there's times that we do that, but if I'm missing him, that's not really how I want to spend my time. So it is what it is. So it's all about, it's kind of a quirky time in life, really. I want to do more of these things and less of work. But we're not really quite there yet. be. My plan is in the next 5 years or so to be doing more of this, less of that. If I had more long arm quilting business coming in, I might be able to back off sooner. But I don't know. You know, life's problems, huh? So that's my life update. Sorry, rambled. But there you go. I did have a couple of questions this week. One of them was about my hair, which I felt was kind of odd. However, they asked me, basically, did I dye it this way? I guess it's not odd that they asked me, because this is the trend now, I guess, dyeing your hair gray. No, this is my natural color. Matter of fact, the little bit of like blondie stuff at the end is the last of the color that's left, I think. About almost 3.5 years ago now, when I started my current job, I decided I was going to grow out my gray hair. I had been dyeing my hair since I was in my 20s. I went gray young, and in your 20s nobody wanted to be gray. At least back then nobody wanted to be gray. You're talking the late 80s, early 90s. Gray wasn't in. It got to the point where I was dyeing my hair or having it dyed, and 2 weeks later needing touch-ups, and I decided at one point that I just needed to kind of give up on that. And I think I've told this story here before, so if you're like a repeat watcher and you've already heard this story, I'm sorry. I had a shorter haircut then, probably jaw length, and I decided I was just going to grow it out. I did not get it cut super short. I wanted to grow my hair long, so it took a lot of time. I think it was late summer of 2019, so just last summer, that the hairdresser said, I'm cutting off the last main part of your color. So it took a long time for it to grow out. And I think over here, back when I first started to grow out, my daughter and I did some bleaching to try, because you have to understand, you see my hair now, I had colored it for years and years and years, was coloring it this dark auburn brown. So there was a clear demarcation line where I got some strays here, where the color and the gray met. So at one point, my youngest daughter and I bleached the bottom, I don't know, third of my head, which turned it kind of orangey for a while. So I just wore my hair up in one of those loose buns for a long time. You guys see me in them all the time. I wear them all the time, because honestly, when you're bent over sewing like this, having all this hair in your face is not always an awesome thing. So but I think I still have some of that left. Like, I can see it every once in a while. Not the orangey, it's gone kind of blondish now, but so I'm still waiting for that part to grow out. This part up here, obviously down through, is all my natural color, and I've gotten very used to it, to the point where I encourage everybody to do it. It's kind of liberating, I think, to just be authentically you. Now, if you want to color your hair, color your hair. You do you. I say this all the time. But for me, it's been kind of liberating. I look back on pictures of me with dyed hair, and honestly, it looks fake. Anyway, it just looks fake. So I like it now. It's less maintenance now. It's much more my wheelhouse. But no, I do not dye it to get this way. This is my natural hair color. So there we go. Sorry, my throat's getting dry very quick today, which might be good for you guys, who knows. The other question I got was, how much stitch time do I actually get in a day? So I've said this before, I'll say it again. I used to get more stitch time in the morning. Now that I'm working out in the morning, I probably only get about 30 minutes in the morning. I generally will eat lunch early at my desk, and that way when I do lunch, that's an hour of stitch time. And then at night, usually between nights I come down here and sew, I will go back up between 8 and 9 and then stitch till I go to bed. Not always though. There's nights when I go up there and I'm like a lump in a log and I watch a movie with my husband and that's it. I would say probably on an average day I stitch probably 2.5 hours a day. There are some days lately, I will tell you, that I do not stitch at all, whether it be sewing or cross stitch. And I think mainly because I was struggling with being exhausted and I just was not feeling it. So, you know, that's that. But I don't get that much stitching. I get more stitching when we travel because I'll stitch on the flights, I'll stitch in the airport, I will stitch anywhere I can find time to stitch. In car rides to go places. We have a trip coming up pretty soon. Well, tomorrow's 1st, so is tomorrow the 1st? No, today's the 1st. Today's the 1st. On the 22nd of this month, we will be going on a trip to Texas and Louisiana to see our son and our daughter and son-in-law and grandbabies. So that is that. I will be stitching quite a bit on that. Alright, let's talk about yesterday. I was able to binge watch some other FlossTubers because I like I said, I really do want to start interacting more with the community. I like the Stitchy community in that how supportive everybody is, and I like interacting. So yesterday I stumbled across some FlossTubers that honestly had not come up on my YouTube feed, and like I said, I very rarely get the chance to sit and binge watch YouTube. I'm going to make an effort today as I'm working on some sewing. I'll talk more about that later. But I found Stacy at 911 Stitcher. I will link her below in the show notes. I found Anne at the Shepherd's Needle. I hear about the Shepherd's Needle all the time in the stitching community. I'm not exactly sure exactly where they're located, but I think I need to make it a mission for me to get there. Christy from Crosshatch Quilts, she and I have touched base. I watched her, she put her first FlossTube up a couple days ago. I think I ended up catching it at lunchtime while I was stitching, and she's funny. I think she and I might be kindred spirits, and if you head over and watch her, you will know exactly why. She talks about being a squirrel. You know, you're in the middle of a project and, ooh, this looks nice, this looks nice, and then lo and behold, you have a million projects that aren't finished. And I talked about this at the beginning of 2020. That I think 2020 is the year of the whip for me, because it's just become, it's gotten to the point where I just find it, I don't want to say stressful because it's not really stressful. Anxiety is not really a good word either. I'm very aware that I have whips all around me, whether it be sewing or cross stitching. So when I watched her, I had to reach out to her because, man, I think she and I are kind of kindred spirits in that way, and I think there's got to be a lot of us out there that jump from one project to another. The thing is that I like my creative space down here to be not cluttered. So clutter does not help me in my creative space. So I like things to be organized. I don't mind having a lot of things, but they need to be organized. They need to be out where I can see them, not put away in a bin. Like you'll see the fabrics, which shoulder? This shoulder. These are some new fabrics that I've gotten. There's some Lori Holt fabric and some Corey Yoder fabric. Over there I have a Tula Pink bundle that a quilty friend of mine gave me for Christmas, because I'm a Tula Pink kind of girl. You see, wrong shoulder, that Christmas fabric over here that I bought for myself, that I'm working on a Christmas Bargello quilt for my master bedroom. You see, wrong shoulder, the block of the months up there that I'm getting through Fat Quarter Shop. I like things out where I can see them. If I could turn the should I try to turn the camera? So I'm sitting at my desk, which obviously has the computer on it. You can see my long arm right behind my wrong shoulder again. See, I'm directionally challenged, I'm telling you. It's my long arm quilting machine. It's a Quiltmaker Pro 18 by Janome. I wonder if I can swing this camera without making you guys too sick. I do have a tour of this crafting area on my YouTube, but things have changed even then. Those of you that have been following along know I change pretty regularly, but I'm now in my permanent space, and I'm wondering if I can just turn you and see what I'm looking at. So over, you see a workout area. I have an old Singer sitting there in a cabinet. That's where I'm working on the mystery quilt for Bonnie Hunter. You see a spare bedroom. I still have some Christmas decorations up here. Down here, guys, don't judge. My ironing station is right there, and that is my cutting station. And behind there on the wall, I have plenty of fabric. So just bear with me while I turn you back around. Going on a little field trip. And some fabric that I've starched. Okay, let's see if we can get you back around. Oh, there. Well, that wasn't so bad. I think I tilted the camera a little down, but we're going to leave it like that. I have a lot of things, but as you see, things are organized. So I have piles of things, and the fabrics are out where I can see them. They spark my creativity. They spark me on to finish these whips, so that I can move on to new projects. That's basically what it is. So this year, I've been on a mission to stitch from stash. I wish I had known about the Facebook group a lot sooner. I joined it today. I'm going to adjust this camera just a little bit. I joined it today, but I think that it's too late for me to, I don't know. You guys need to chime in. I don't know. I have a whip list for the quilting side. I have a whip list for cross stitch, and my goal is, other than the new starts I had already planned, from the quilting side, the mystery quilt from Bonnie Hunter that she does every year, the Bloomtopia quilt that Fat Quarter Shop's doing to benefit Make-A-Wish, and cross stitch, same thing. I have several long-term projects that will continue for a while, and I have Snow Village that I'll show you my latest finish on that here soon, that will continue for a while. Besides those, I have other whips that need to be finished, and I'm committed to finishing them before I start anything else, which means if I don't get them finished before Mania will be about whips. So how to do that has now become an issue. Like, how do I tackle that? But I've gotten some finishes done on both sides, so let's go on and talk about that. I only have one finish for cross stitch, and it is, I believe this is part 4 of Snow Village. It's Peppermint Parlor. Let's see if we can, there you go. I haven't FFO'd it yet. If you've watched my previous videos, you know how I will FFO it, because I will be FFOing all of them the same way, and I will be mounting them on an old shutter that I have. Sorry, I was giving a drippy nose. And that's the only cross stitch finish I have. I feel like I should have more than that, but I really don't. I have one quilting finish that I forgot to bring over here, but it's an American flag quilt that I started way back when I started quilting, that has never been completed, that I finally completed. So that is FFO'd. That is over there folded up in the quilt pile. It's good to go, and I have another quilt sitting there waiting to be bound, so that will be a finish probably today at some point. So I feel like I'm making progress. And let's talk about whips. This is where we talk about my method as far as, so here's what I was trying to do. I was watching Off the Grid, who's following in that group, and there are some in that group, including the leader, and I'm totally blanking on her name right now. I'm so sorry. If it comes to me while I'm talking, I'll mention it. She talked about spending 24 stitching hours on one project to see progress. So I picked a project and I decided to do that. That being said, I stopped tracking the hours at like 18 hours left because it just felt like it had been a week and I was only down to 18 hours. So I'd be working on the same project for many weeks before I switched off, which for me that would be quite boring. So I didn't really want to do that. Anyway, I did work on this project for 2 straight weeks. All of my stitching time went into this project. Now keep in mind, I have not had a ton of stitching time in the last 2 weeks. This happens to be a sew along with Stitching with the Sisterlies, To Martini Stitcher, and Michelle G at Bendy Stitches. This is by Little House Needleworks. It is the Suffrage Act. And this year is the 100th anniversary of the white woman's right to vote. And since I'm a veteran and I'm pretty patriotic, not that I'm going to discuss any political views on my channel, because we're not. But I'm very patriotic. I want what's best for this country. And I love, like, I'm not a Halloween girl. I'm a fall girl. Not a Halloween girl, but I am a 4th of July, Memorial Day kind of girl. Sorry. So I joined in on this stitch along with Stitching with the Sisterlies, To Martini Stitcher, and Michelle G from Bendy. I think it's Michelle G from Bendy Stitches. I think I might be crucifying that. If I am so sorry. I think the cold medicine might be fogging my head. So my entire almost 2 weeks of stitch time was spent on this. This is done on 28 count Monaco that I tea-dyed. I'm using all the called for floss except for the red. I did not have cherry cobbler, but I had a ton of different reds over here, so I just chose one. What did I choose? Let me pull it out. I chose Licorice Red. I felt like it went with all the other colors, so I substituted that in. And this is how far I've gotten. Let's see if I can see. The white does not show up well in this light. It washes it out, so I'm trying to get it. There you go. And then, quite honestly, now I just need to put her away for a little bit. I told my mom I'm putting her in timeout just because, although I love stitching her, Monaco, you know, some of these smaller weaves at times I have a hard time seeing, especially at night. Our lighting upstairs is not awesome, and my eyesight's not good either. So sometimes at night I have a hard time stitching. I did start using a ballpoint needle. I wish I'd brought the case over so I could tell you what size. Because I find that after I tea-dye Monaco, the holes kind of cinch up a little bit. And I find the ballpoint needle helps the needle glide into the next stitch better. But I feel like I made good progress. I don't count stitches. Maybe I should, and I would feel like more progress than I did. But that was basically what I worked on in all of my stitching time over about 2 weeks. And you can hear now I'm starting to stuff up more. Of course, I'm on FlossTube. Why would that not happen while I'm on FlossTube? Or trying to do a FlossTube. I had to order in more black coffee from Classic Colorworks, and I ordered some Muddy Puddle because I did not have that either. And I have to tell you, the Muddy Puddle is kind of impressive. I like the overdyed thread versus the DNC. I still use the DMC. I like the overdyed thread because there's variegation in it. And so this Muddy Puddle, I don't even think the camera's going to pick it up. It has quite a bit of variegation in it. And it's too bad that the stitching isn't in a wide enough area where you're probably even going to see it. I probably could have gone with the DMC and been fine. But I ordered Muddy Puddle, and that's what I did. The other whip that I have is, as I mentioned earlier, Fat Quarter Shop is doing Bloomtopia, both a quilt and a cross stitch. Both patterns release every 2 weeks on a Friday. It started yesterday. So I'm going to show you the cross stitch first. The pattern is free. They suggest a donation to Make-A-Wish. The donation link is on Fat Quarter Shop's website, and I will link it down below. The pattern I printed off, I'm not showing you anything I shouldn't. This is available on the Jolly Jabber blog. This is the first section released on the pattern. I'm doing it in all the called for colors and on the called for cloth. I am stitching it on 25 count Lugana in the color pewter. And this is what I've gotten so far. Struggling with the angle of the camera today. So I'm hoping, I think between any stitching time during the day today and tonight, I will have part 1 done. Part 2 won't release for 2 weeks, so then I will move on to something else. So once I'm done with part 1 of the Bloomtopia, I actually think the next part of Snow Village is coming soon. That might be my next start. And then I will pick out another whip. I'm struggling between working 24 hours straight on a whip and doing the whip rotation like the housewives or other people do. I think I'm just doing what I feel like doing, and as long as I'm working on a whip, then all is good. Alright, I'm going to pause this video for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, again, to the point where I had to blow my nose. Didn't want you to see that on camera. How nice I am. See? You don't have to see that stuff on camera. I swear I'm not going to video edit, but that stuff I will edit out if I ever have to. We talked about the Bloomtopia. I showed you the cross stitch. The first, now I bought the Bloomtopia quilt kit, so I have the pattern for the entire quilt. I could do the entire quilt right now and not have a problem. I have all the fabric, I have the backing set, I have everything I need. But I personally think it's more fun to do it with everybody, a whole mess of other quilters. So blocks 1 and 2 were released yesterday. They will release the next couple of blocks, I believe, in 2 weeks. And I wanted to show you my 2 blocks from yesterday. So I'm not going to get ahead on this pattern. I'm going to do it with everybody else. I have other quilts going on right now. I have plenty to work on without having to excel at this one. And it's not a competition. I think it's kind of fun to quilt as a community, to know that there are plenty of other quilters working on the exact same thing. I think it's awesome. That's what I like about the Bonnie Hunter Mystery Quilt, which I'm also working on. So follow me over on Instagram at A Little Farm Quilts. You will see updates on that. You will see updates on my Facebook page as well, because I post across. And if I can figure out how to insert a photo here, I will do that. If I can't figure out in the middle, check at the end. I might have a photo of my progress up there. Okay? But I like the thought of working on things with other people. I think that's why stitch-alongs are popular. I think that's why sew-alongs are popular. There's just something about community and sharing progress and encouraging everybody, and it's probably one of the most positive, for the most part, environments that I'm in my life. So it's good. It's good. I'm not really a groups person, but I just wish now that I had a guild that met in the evening, that was close to my home, that was easy for me to get to after work, that I wouldn't have to leave work early for to get to. That's part of the problem. Or a stitchy, people that I could meet at a local needlework shop and stitch with them for a couple hours on a Saturday, and we could talk stitching. That would be awesome. I live in upstate New York. If you know of any of that stuff, hit me up, because I'm an hour any direction from a major city. And I don't mind traveling an hour, but it's difficult for me to travel an hour after work to get anywhere on time. That's my problem. But anyway, let's go with the 2 blocks. Enough of my whining. This is the first one. I think this is called Over and Under. Let me grab my thing here. Can't show you the pattern. Over and Under. Yep, that's called Over and Under. So this is called Over and Under. This is done with, oh gosh, I'm bad today. My brain is nuts. Sherry and Chelsea. It's made with Summer Sweet from Moda Fabrics. So just so you know. And I can show you this part. These are the fabrics. Here. Can you see that? Aren't those pretty? Those are the fabrics. Now, I got the quilt kit so that I wouldn't have to worry about picking up fabrics, because I did the designer mystery block of the month that's over the shoulder right there. And at the time, I was kind of a newbie at all this, and I didn't order the finishing kit for the rest of the quilt top, because all you get is the blocks. You don't get what's for the rest of the quilt top. So, while I was in an airport on a trip, I got notified that the fabric was back in stock, and I went in and ordered yardage as I was boarding an airplane, and I didn't want to be there again. So I ordered the whole thing. I don't order a ton of quilt kits anymore. I used to order a lot of them. I much prefer to get the books. I have a whole line of books up here on my board, fully out, so that I can see the covers of the books. And I like to do stuff. I like to take patterns and kind of mix things up with color and stuff. Anyway, here's block number 2. This is called, let me get it. Gosh, I look at the setting of these things and I kind of want to do the whole quilt, but I have plenty of others to work on. And for those of you that don't like the quilting, I'm sorry. Just bear with me. We'll be back to talking about more stuff here in a second. This was a Bright Futures variation block. And this was cute too. And they came out really well. So I find that my quilting is evolving. I think the more quilts that I quilt for other people, the more I change how I put quilts together. Because I find the issues when it comes to quilting them. I have decided that I'm a starcher for sure now. I starch everything before I use it, with the exception of jelly rolls. If it's another pre-cut, I will starch it, and then I will just accommodate for the shrinkage when I do the pattern. So that's it. Let's see, haul. Let's talk about haul. I do have the next installment of Snow Village on its way. It's called Frozen Hot Chocolate. I have not seen it yet. I haven't even looked at it online yet. I assume that it's a lot of the same, you know, because most of them are very similar to this. The buildings are different colors maybe, but very similar to this. Different things outside the building. But that should be coming here, I would think, today. I think it's actually due here today. I ordered more thread from Fat Quarter Shop. For sewing, I use Aurifil 50 weight generally, and there's a thread sew down with Fat Quarter Shop that they say, you know, take a picture of your new spool and then sew, and then see who gets done with the spool the fastest, kind of thing. It's kind of a challenge to see how much people are sewing. I will participate in that. However, I still have a partial spool on my machine. So that being said, this won't be open for a little bit, but because I could get 15% off, and those of you that sew know how expensive this is, 15% off was a big deal. And it also had a daily deal the same day for Plum Street Samplers cross stitch pattern, Babushka's Bees. So I picked that up on sale. See, I'm trying to stitch from stash, but if I can pick up a cheap pattern, I'm picking up a cheap pattern. And for those of you that don't know and are new to my channel, I am a honey beekeeper. So I have several cross stitch patterns that involve bees that I will be working on, hopefully once I get all these whips done. Might have to be the year of the bee someday. But I have lots, and I actually saw another one this morning that I want. It's ridiculous. I have to stop watching all of you because I love to watch other FlossTubers, but gosh, every time I watch one, I add a pattern or more to my list of wants. And because I'm stitching from stash, I won't just go out and buy them. And the only other thing I bought, because my buying life is not very exciting right now because I'm stitching from stash, I had to get long arm quilting threads. some neutral colors. I have a lot of specialty colors. I should post a picture of that too. I have a 2-tier tray that on the top has all my glide colors, and on the bottom has all of my superior so fine colors. Those are the 2 threads that I exclusively use for long arm quilting. If you have a long arm quilting needs, please visit my website at alittlefarmquilts.com and check me out. You can also find pictures on my Instagram of customer quilts that I quilted. There's pictures on my website, but I think those pictures are pretty old now. I probably should go out and update them. But if you're interested in me long arm quilting for you, all you have to do is get in touch with me, my email address below, and I will send you information and everything. I think that's it, guys. I only had to pause once to blow my nose, so that's good. I think I feel good enough to sew some more today, which is also good. I will see if I can insert a picture after this video or during the video of the progress I'm making on the mystery quilt with Bonnie Hunter. It's up on my design wall. It's actually right in front of me on that wall, and it's looking kind of cool. I like the scrappy quilts with lots of small pieces. So I have all the mystery quilts I've done. I think this is my 4th one. And then last night I was talking about giving one of them away, so I don't know. It's a toughie. I don't know. Thank you guys for joining me. I love spending time with you. Keep the questions coming. I love to interact with you guys. Like my video so other people get to see me. I really appreciate all the support that I get here every week. And sorry that I didn't put a video up next week. And sorry that today I seem to be saying an awful lot. But everybody enjoy your day, and let's see if I can do some fancy film editing. We'll see. Guys, have a great day. Thanks for joining me.